this is Ahobem and welcome. So welcome back to another video. If you are new here, you're welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, you already know the drill. Thank you so much for coming back again to see another video. So for the sake of those who are new here, let me introduce myself. My name is Ahobem Abu and I am a Nigerian who is based in Canada. I moved here as a permanent resident late last year, so late 2023, and I've been living in this country for give or take 9 months. And yeah, that's a brief introduction. But before moving here, I had lived in Poland for 5 years, and if you go through my channel, you would see that we had a lot of fun on this channel while I was living in Poland. So I regularly document my life in different countries. So I've documented my life in Europe, so Poland, the UK, and some other countries that I have visited. And since moving to Canada, I have been documenting my life here as well as a newcomer in Canada. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about money. I remember a few vlogs ago, sorry, I had mentioned that I was going to talk about money. It's been a while since we spoke about that subject, so that is going to be the title of this video. So first things first, like I said, I moved here 8 months ago, and as someone who lived in Europe, I was earning a different currency, and when I moved here, I started earning a different currency. So I have experience in what it's like to earn in 2 different currencies, and it's actually different. Like, money here and money there is not exactly the same, but at the end of the day, the fundamental topic of handling money is the same across board. Now, before I jump into what this video is about, I would like to thank the sponsors of this video, because this video is sponsored by Pesa. If you don't know what Pesa is, don't worry, let me explain. So Pesa is a fintech company that helps you to send money to various countries, and Pesa is an online platform where you can use to transfer money internationally without any hassle, without any hidden bank charges, and you can do it at the convenience of wherever you are. So you can literally send money from wherever, and also the rates are top notch. So what I recently got, I think about last month, I got to know about Pesa, and since then I've been sending money with Pesa, and I noticed that the rates are very, very, very much better than other rates elsewhere. So I use only Pesa to transfer money these days. And the thing is, with Pesa, it's just simple. You need to create an account, so you go to the App Store, download Pesa, but in this case, you're not going to the App Store, you're going to be using my referral code, because when you use my referral code to make any transaction, your first transaction above $50 or 50 euros or 50 pounds, your first transaction, you get to earn $10 back. So that's the catch here. So using my link, download Pesa, register, so you fill in all the information. You would also need to upload an ID, so a valid ID. And after you are done with that, you submit all your information, you wait for your account to be verified, and once that is done, you are ready to send money across the world at your convenience. So make sure to use Pesa and use my code when you're registering, which is Ahobewom. So with my code, you would get some coins back after you send your first transaction. So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that we are all moving to Pesa, and Pesa is the app for sending money internationally. Okay, now let's jump back into the topic of the discussion. So I have my notes here where I've written everything I want to talk about, so I don't forget anything. So basically, this is, should I say, yeah, it's just a money talk, and then I'll give you some things that I'm personally doing that is helping me manage my finances better as a new immigrant in Canada, right? So first things first, we know that moving abroad takes a toll on you, like financially, emotionally, and all of that. But today we're going to be focusing on the financial part. So now, when you're moving abroad, there are so many things that you do not necessarily think you would spend on, but you end up spending on. What do I mean? Okay, so when we're trying to get an apartment, while we were still back in Europe, a lot of landlords were not even accepting to rent to us because we did not have a credit history. I'll get into the credit history later. But yeah, so most landlords would want you to pay 3 months to 5 months or 6 months upfront. What that means is they're asking you to pay 6 months of your rent upfront, which means whatever money that you have saved up to relocate, you're probably going to take a great portion of that to pay to the landlord. And then when you finally rent an apartment, you're moving into an empty box. So you literally, like in Europe, that's the difference. In Europe, if you're moving, okay, in Poland to be specific, if you're moving into a new apartment, you're moving into a furnished apartment most of the time. So even if you pay a chunk of that money, you know that you're coming into an apartment where there's a bed, chair, there's everything for you. You don't need to buy any furniture. But in this case, that was not the case. So moving in here, we had to buy bed, mattress, chairs, and every single thing that you need to set up your house, at least basics. If you've had followed me then, or even if you've not followed me, you can go back and see how all of that progressed to where we are right now. So yeah, so moving abroad takes a lot of your money. So what that means is whatever money that you have saved up, you might end up using it more. And then the fact that you are new in a place, you don't really know how a lot of things work, you would end up spending more money than you should if you knew exactly where to get what. So you might go to a wrong shop or a more expensive grocery shop as opposed to the cheaper ones because you have no idea how things work in the new city that you moved into. So that was the first problem that we kind of faced. But I didn't really face that problem square on because I have family and I have friends here in the city. So I wasn't really making too many money mistakes, but of course I made money mistakes. The next thing I would like to talk about is credit cards. So back in Poland, I was on a temporary residence card. So this is not a permanent visa, it's just a temporary one, which I got to renew every 3 years. So what that meant was I did not have access to taking credit or taking loans, although some people were taking loans, but to be honest, I never took any loan or had a credit card back in Poland. So I did not necessarily know how a credit card worked or the credit system worked. So when I came here, that was something that I had to educate myself on what a credit card is, like everything that it entails. So basically, a credit card is like a card that is given to you based on, they'll put a limit on the card. So you have a specific amount of money that you can spend. So in my case, when I first got here, I think my credit card limit was 2.5. I don't remember anymore. Yeah, but they gave me 2.5 when I first opened my account. So you have a card that you can spend 2,500. But hold up, you do not spend 2,500 because you need to build your credit score, because every single thing you do kind of revolves around having a good credit. If you ever want to purchase a house in future, or if you want to, even when you're like looking for an apartment, you need to show your credit history. So you don't want to go, okay, because someone has given you a card that has been loaded with $2,500, you just go and spend it. No. So in order to build a good credit score, there are different things that you need to consider. So for example, you try to make sure that you're using only about 10 to 20% of that money in that card. So do not overutilize the credit card. So basically, if you have 2,500, don't go beyond a certain amount of money. Make sure that you're staying within 20% or 30%. I don't remember the exact percentages, but stay beyond that percentage. But the most important thing is paying back your credit card debt. So with credit card comes debt. So when you start buying things with your credit card, as you're buying, you're paying, there is something called, like, there's a point where your credit statement will be out. And in my case, to be honest, my credit card closes by the 26th. So I get like my credit statement every 26th of the month. So when you get that, you would get like a summary of everything that you've paid for with that credit card. And then they would give you what is called a minimum payment. Minimum payments can be $10, meaning pay $10 now and then be paying $10 for the next God knows how long. You don't want to do that. So what I usually do is I use my credit card based on how much I want to spend in that month, and then before my statement is out, I pay up. So you pay up immediately so that you don't have any issues. So once they bring out your credit statement for the month, you just pay it before your due date, because you'd have a due date they'll give you to pay up until a certain period of time. Just make sure to pay it before your due date to make sure that you always have your credit card coming back. Like, for example, let's take it that in the month you used $500 from your credit card. Try to pay up the $500 so that by the next cycle you have your 2,500 back in your credit card. So I had to learn about credit cards and all of that to make sure that I am not underutilizing or overutilizing my card. Also, on your bank app, you could also check your credit score based on your, like, there are different things that would amount to how much you score. Like a good credit score, I think, is from 650, but yeah, you should try to have something higher than that. Your credit score is being grown over time based on how you use your credit card, how you're able to pay back the money that you take out from your, like, you pay back your debt before your due date. So all of those things will be factored in to calculate your credit score. So okay, the third point is earnings. When I was in Poland, and also when I lived in Nigeria or when I worked in Nigeria, we were paid by month end. So once a month, you get paid on the 30th or the 31st, like the last day or the last work day of the month. That's how it works back in those two countries. But when I came here, I found out that you get paid bi-weekly, which was kind of, at first I was like, why are they dividing my money and paying me half and half? Why don't you just keep everything? But at the end of the day, I kind of understood how that works and I figured it out. So here you earn money every 2 weeks. Some companies do every 2 weeks, while some companies do twice a month. So it depends on what structure your employer has, right? So bi-weekly pay, so meaning every fortnight you get a salary, which is like half of your monthly salary. So that way you're able to, so as a result of that, I noticed that some of their payments, like for example, the gym membership is also, like, your payments are scheduled for you to pay bi-weekly rather than monthly. Meanwhile, in Poland, we used to pay, like, for gym subscription monthly. So there are a lot of subscriptions that you'll be paying for that might be monthly or bi-weekly because of the salary structure here. So what earning bi-weekly did was I had to make sure that I had a proper budget, because at the end of the month, before now, when I was earning in Poland, I knew that, okay, when month ends, I get a certain amount of money and this is how I break down my money. But now the money is coming in more than usual. So what that means is you have to be on your A game for budgeting. So in terms of budgeting, there are certain things that you need to do. Number one, you need to list all the incomes that you're earning. So this is how much I'm earning this week, bi-weekly. So list all your incomes. The next thing is to list your fixed expenses. By fixed expenses, I mean your rent, your phone bills, internet bills, and whatever fixed expense that does not change within the month. You list that one out as well. So it could also include gym membership, like I have called, and maybe Spotify or your entertainment subscriptions. You should also list them out. The next thing is also to list your variable expenses. So variable expenses could be, you may have, I would like to say groceries is a fixed expense, but we all know that there are some months that you spend more on eating than some other months. But yeah, so these variable expenses would include things like groceries, self-care, as hair, nails if you're a lady, so nails and all these other things, that maybe even entertainment, so going out on dates or hanging out with friends, all of those are part of your variable expenses. So you list everything out so that you'll be able to create a realistic budget based on what you want. Another thing is, so when I did all of that, I also did scheduled payments. So a lot of my things are automated in such a way that, so that the money, because now I'm earning twice, like the frequency has increased, so it does not make me feel like, oh, after all, I'm going to get paid again 2 weeks from now. No. So everything is scheduled. So when the money hits your checking account, a certain amount will go into your savings, a certain amount will go into your investments, a certain amount, you know that you're taking out a certain amount for payments of different bills, right? So I have done like scheduled payments to make sure that I am not slacking on any of my payments. So now talking about money and how exactly I'm doing it. So when I came, another thing that was important for me to find out was I really wanted to know how money works over here. So I found out about different kinds of accounts that you can have. So there's the regular checking account, which is just the checking account. Now, something I found weird in this country, like, okay, so when we created our accounts with the bank that we bank with, they had like a newcomer promo thing where you don't get to pay any annual charges for 2 years. So we took that. But after 2 years, you would start to pay an annual fee, which is crazy to me. Why am I paying money to keep my money with you? Anyway, yes, so there's that. Just have it at the back of your mind. If you're moving to Poland, if you're moving to Canada, that there are banks actually charge annual fee here. And also, if there's also something that I found funny. So if you have an automated payment, right? And somehow, the money is not in your account. Like, let's say you had a $50 payment for a bill and it was time to take out that money and they found out that you didn't have up to $50. You're going to get charged for not having money. Have you seen that kind of thing before? Why are you charging me for being broke? Anyway, yeah, so I found it very weird, but it's something that you also need to bear in mind. So yeah, back to what I was saying. So I had to find out what kind of accounts, like how I can grow my money basically. So here in Canada, we have something called TFSA. So that is a tax-free savings account. So basically every single year, you have a certain limit that you can contribute to this fund or to this savings account. And yeah, so, and the money that you invest from the tax TFSA, you don't get taxed. So whatever interest that you gain from the money that you have invested in that account, you're not taxed for it. So let's take it that, okay, let me stop using generalization. So when we first came, my TFSA for the year is 13.5. So you have to wait till the tax year, because it's at the end of the tax year that you will know how much you have, like the limits that you can contribute to that particular account. So like we that we are newcomers, I think most newcomers that came last year have 13.5. On the first year you come, you have 13.5, and then from the next year they start to increase it by extra 6k. So by next year I should have 19.5. So that's, you have an allowance of 19,500 to contribute that. Whatever money is within that contribution, if you use it for any investment and you make returns on it, you do not pay taxes for it. So that's basically what a TFSA is. So 13.5. And it's very important that you try to max out that contribution for the year. So there's TFSA. The next one is FHSA. So this one was actually introduced late last year. That's 2023, when we just got here. We heard about it and we quickly opened that account. Like, we literally opened it almost on the last day of the year in 2023. So FHSA is the first housing savings account. See, it's a mouthful, that's why you see me doing like this. So FHSA, so first housing savings account. So basically whatever money you put into this account should go towards your first house. So it's like a home buyer's savings account to help and encourage people buy houses here in Canada. So basically that account, you have 8,000 yearly. You have a limit of 8,000. So we that created the account last year, I created the account last year, so 8k, and then by this year another 8k, so 16k. Because I didn't max it out last year, it rolls over to this year. So now I have a contribution room of 16,000 for that account. And basically I think that account has a limit of 40k. So yeah, you're supposed to plan to buy your first home with that account, right? So we have those two accounts. The next one is the pension or retirement savings account. So this is RRSP. So this is for retirement. So some companies that you work with would help you to match whatever contribution that you have. So lucky enough for me, where I work, they match. If you contribute a certain percentage, they match a certain percentage. So based on your contribution, the company would also match that and make sure that you have an ongoing pension contribution. So me now personally, like I said, I schedule my payments and I also schedule my money. So when my salary hits my account, it's splitted in such a way that a certain percentage will go to TFSA, certain percentage will go to FHSA. My pension is already being cut directly from my paycheck before it even comes to me. And then, yeah. So yes, that is how the whole money thing works. So another thing is, I found out that you could actually do this TFSA and FHSA in a different, like in Wealth Simple, not with your bank, because there are some banks that have higher interest rates while some have low interest rates. So this is the part that this is another mistake that I made when I came. I really wish that I had done my TFSA with Wealth Simple rather than, or with Tangerine, rather than with my local bank, which, yeah, so from next year I would have to readjust and make proper planning, so I'm able to max out all of that and make an interest from, like, high interest. So basically putting it in a high interest. Another thing that was also important, or is another thing that we need to talk about, is emergency funds. So it's very important to have an emergency fund. Now, what is an emergency fund? This is basically your needs, not your wants, your total needs every month. If you calculate your total needs, this would include the cost of your rent, your groceries, that's feeding, bills, like only the important things, only the necessary things that are needed, right? Multiplied by 3 to 6 months. So it depends on you. How big do you want your emergency fund to be? So your emergency fund can be, let's take it that if in a month you spend about 1,000 Canadian dollars to cover your rent. Is it possible? 1,000 to cover your rent? That's not possible. So let's take it that you spend about 2,000, like the total cost to live on, or the total cost that goes to your needs, is actually 2,000 CAD. That means you should be aiming to have an emergency fund of 6,000 to 12,000. Meaning, if anything happens, if you don't get it, if you suddenly fall sick and you are not able to work, or if you suddenly lose your job or whatever, you have something that you can fall back to for 3 months, because everybody assumes that in 3 months you should be able to figure yourself out. So just like a buffer. Like back in Poland, I had something like this, so this is not new at all. So you need to make sure that you have an emergency fund. So that's another place that my money diverts to when I get my salary. So another money thing that I would like to talk about is overspending. So guys, we're in social media era. Like every time you scroll on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube or whatever, you see something nice, you see something you want, you see someone with a lifestyle that you would want, and overconsumption has become the order of the day. Everybody's buying everything. Like there are so many things to buy. It's almost like marketing. Like, I don't know, they've used a different strategy that everybody's gradually, like, we have all fallen for. Like I've also fallen into the trap of overspending, which is what made me sit down to actually start having a budget. So basically with overspending, you need to sit down and track every single kobo. I said kobo. Every single dollar. So every $5, every $2, every $1 that leaves your account, you need to be accountable for it. So if you're tracking every single thing you're spending, you can be able to see where exactly your money goes. There was a month that I sat down and I was looking at the things I was buying, and I noticed that, oh, a certain amount of my money goes here, 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 and here. And then you realize that when you sum it up at the end of the month, you see that, oh my God, you're spending a chunk of your money on online orders. For what exactly? So overspending is something that you need to curb in order to grow your money. You need to sit down and take stock of your bank. Just open your bank and see, and you will find out that the devil is inside the statement. You will see all the things that have been taking your money. So that's one thing that I've consciously been doing every single month, making sure that I'm tracking my expenses so that I am not overspending. As much as we are trying to be financially mature people, we also need to make room for fun. So the fact that you're saving your money, your tax, you have an emergency fund set up, you're saving some in your TFSA, you're saving some in your RSP for your pension or for your retirement, you're saving another one for a house. You also need to consider that your own enjoyments, you need to enjoy yourself, even if it's a little. So things like hanging out with your friends, I've curbed it. Like, we try to do low budget hangouts. Anything that would make someone to spend too much money, we all are aware that, oh, we are all trying to be financially responsible people. So nobody's going way above budget to host anything that would make somebody start spending anyhow. So you need to make room for little monies here and there that you would spend on fun activities, dates, occasional eating out. So since we started working out and being very conscious about our lifestyle in terms of health, we've reduced, like, we rarely eat out, rarely, only few times, and even the few times we don't go above budget. So yes, that's something that, in as much as you're creating a percentage of your income to tackle the fun aspect of your life, you also have to make sure that you're not going above, like you're not living above your means, right? Things like self-care, so hair and nails. If you know me, you know that I always do my nails every single month, and that's because I have decided that this is something that I like and this is something that makes me feel good. So a certain part of my money, and I try not to go to salons where they would overcharge me. I had mentioned sometime here on the channel that since I moved to Canada, I don't do nail art anymore. I'm always on plain color, and that's because here, for every line that they draw on your nail, they will charge you extra $5. So when they draw one line here, one line here, one line here, before you know, your bill has gone up to $100 from the basic $50 that you just wanted to paint your nails. So because of that, apart from the fact that I'm also skeptical about them drawing things that I might not like, I just decided that, you know what, let's just go for plain paint, and I'm good with that so far as it keeps my bill low. And even for my hair, I try to use my wigs as much as possible. Or if you remember, I was doing silk presses earlier in the year, and those silk presses used to cost me how much? They were not even that expensive. I also found a salon that doesn't charge too high, and yeah, I always go there because of this reason. But here are some other things that I am doing to stay as a financially responsible person who has moved to a new country. When you first come here, you will get a lot of NGOs, so those newcomers, I've forgotten their names but those organizations that help newcomers settle down, they would help with a lot of things, right? So when we came, we heard that, oh, it's possible that as a newcomer who hasn't earned a dime in Canada, you can actually get into, like, you can get a fair entry letter. So this is like a reference letter from a social worker telling the transport, because fair entry is like, it handles the transportation system here in Calgary. I don't know about other provinces, but here in Calgary, that's what fair entry does. So we got a fair entry letter that literally states, oh, these people are new, they don't have income, help them. So with this letter, you would be able to go to fair entry and apply on their website. We applied, we waited, and after I think a month, you would get, they will now allow you to buy tickets at a cheaper rate. Like now, I buy monthly bus pass for $5. One bus pass in a day, not daily pass, so just one pass. One is $3. So imagine paying $5 for a whole month. That is a slash. So if you are new, it's something you should embrace, because by the end of the year, when I'll be 1 year, that thing would expire. So for now, that is one thing that I am taking advantage of. Another thing I'm taking advantage of is my company allows you to have has corporate membership for gyms. So for my gym, I am paying a cheaper price because I'm using my company referral to apply. I use my company referral to apply for that membership. So as a result, I am not paying a gym membership as high as it should be because I work in my company. Another thing is my company also offers some benefits. So this is why it's important that when you're taking or when you're applying for a job, you should check for the benefits that the job is offering you. So another benefit that comes with working where I work is also the fact that there are some certain grocery stores that when I go to, have 15% on buying groceries from those grocery shops. So as a result, I tend to shop at only those grocery stores. I only go to the other ones if the thing I'm looking for, like, I can't find it here, and yeah. So that's one thing again I'm doing. I'm taking advantage of all my employee benefits, which I think you should as well. Same as for insurance, like dental and all of that, they're all in the benefits that my company or my employer offer. Another one is I live below my means. I literally had to clock this one because I used to think, okay, I should live at this level. But when I figured out that I have a goal, like in terms of finances, I have a goal to meet, I want to live a certain kind of lifestyle, I just had to curb a lot of things that I do. So making sure that I live below my means, not on my means, but below it, so that I have money. Yeah. So if you see me going to Dollarama here and there, Dollarama is actually like a dollar store. There are so many things that I would not buy from other stores, but I would only buy from Dollarama, because you go to Dollarama for example, this cleaning. Let's use all the different cleaning things I use in this house, from the dishwasher to the soap for washing the toilets to everything. The cleaning products that I use, I buy all of them from Dollarama. I notice that those same products are cheaper in Dollarama than they are in other places. So, and I'm wondering, so why am I going to other places to buy detergent to wash my clothes when I can buy them from Dollarama? So yeah, I also shop at Dollarama. It's a dollar store. I shop there to reduce my cost. Another thing I did was also to move from bulk shopping to weekly shopping. I know that sounds kind of counterproductive in terms of money, because you'll be wondering, but if you buy things in bulk, are you not saving more? Actually, we found out that was not the case for us, because when we're going to superstore to buy things in bulk, you would say, okay, superstore is cheap, so you want to go and buy things in bulk. And then when you get to the checkout, you now notice that the bill is coming up. The money is just something else. Like, the money is not adding up. So we now had to cut that out. And then when we buy in bulk, we come home, things like vegetables will now spoil. And I don't have a deep freezer. I know a lot of Nigerians here in Canada have a deep freezer, but I don't have one, because I don't need it right now, so I don't have one. So there are a lot of things that I don't buy in bulk. We changed from monthly shopping to weekly shopping, and when we put it on weekly shopping, we now had a cap. So we have a specific amount of money that we spend during the week, and we make sure that we do not exceed that amount when we go grocery shopping every week. So that has really helped to keep my finances in check, or our finances in check. So yeah, the thing that we've done is also to make sure we do things at home. So we try to do things at home: date nights, hang out with friends, games nights, birthday parties. Okay, birthday we did dinner, but yeah, we try to do a lot of activities at home or within, just to make sure that we're not spending too much. And the last but not the least thing that I know that has helped me is I follow there are these two people on social media. I'll put their handle on the screen. They really helped me have like a better financial approach towards everything. So if you consume content a lot on social media, it's important that you know what you're consuming, so it helps you, or you consume people's content that would make you be the person you want, like that look, or the people that look like what you're trying to achieve, basically. So yeah, I'll post their handles. They share a lot of financial advice, how they budget and all of that, and I absolutely enjoy their content, and I've learned so much from following them. Yeah. And also I invest in stock, but that will be a gist for another day. Although I started investing in stock right from when I was in Poland anyway. We've come to the end of the video, first of all. So if you've watched it to this point, well done. So do not forget to send money internationally at ease, at a low rate, at your convenience. Use Pesa, and my code is Ahobiwom. I'll put the code in the description box. I'll put all the details in the description box. Make sure to download Pesa, check out Pesa, and start sending money to your loved ones from across the world today. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. Do not forget to like, do not forget to comment, do not forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.